My husband left me after I funded his business, saying I wasn't on his level. He abandoned our kids for his affair partner. Now that he's broke and she's gone, he's begging to come back. Alright, guys, this is gonna be a long one. This all started about 2 years ago, but to really understand how bad I screwed up, you gotta know the background. I've been reading this sub forever, but never thought I'd be posting my own story here. So I'm Michelle, 35 female, been married to Andy, 34 male, for 12 years. We've got 2 awesome kids, Zach, 11 male, and Max, 9 male. We were that typical suburban family living in Virginia. You know the type. Nice house, decent jobs, kids doing their activities, nothing crazy. I work in medical device sales. Sounds fancy, but I'm just a glorified saleswoman. And Andy used to work in marketing before deciding to stay home with the kids. Andy was honestly amazing. We met in college. He was this creative down-to-earth guy who could make anyone laugh, had this way of turning ordinary moments into adventures. Like, he'd pack these elaborate picnic surprises for no reason, or start random dance parties in the kitchen while making dinner. Every birthday or anniversary, he'd create these incredible scrapbooks filled with ticket stubs and photos and little notes about our memories together. The kind of stuff that makes you feel like the luckiest gal alive, you know? When the kids came along, he threw himself into being a dad with the same enthusiasm, made their lunches into little art projects, turned bedtime stories into full theatrical productions complete with different voices for each character. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. Had our date nights, shared inside jokes, actually enjoyed hanging out together. Here's where my brother Jimmy comes in. He's older than me by 2 years and got divorced like 3 years ago. His ex was a real piece of work, cheated on him with some 23-year-old from her gym. Ever since then, Jimmy's gone full men empowerment mode. Like, his whole personality changed. He started posting these crazy long Instagram captions finding his authentic self and unlocking his masculine power or whatever. I didn't think much of it at first. Jimmy was hurting, and if posting quotes from these self-help gurus made him feel better, who was I to judge? But then he started spending more time with Andy. A lot more time. See, Andy was getting kinda restless. The kids were both in school full-time and I could tell he was bored. He'd always been super creative, used to make these amazing scrapbooks and stuff for the kids. But now he was just scrolling through his phone all day and watching those mind-numbing reality shows. Jimmy started coming over like 3 to 4 times a week for these brother sessions. Their words, not mine. They'd sit in our kitchen drinking coffee and talking about unleashing their potential. Jimmy kept showing Andy these Instagram accounts of men who built empires from their phones. Most of them were selling some kind of crystals or essential oils or whatever. My parents were actually supportive of this whole thing too. Dad was all, "It's so nice the boys are bonding," and Mom just nodded along because, well, that's what she does. Even my in-laws thought it was great that Andy was finding his passion. Nobody saw what was coming. Andy started talking different. Everything became about mindset and abundance. He joined all these Facebook groups about dadpreneur lifestyle and would stay up late watching YouTube videos about scaling your business. One night, he came to me all excited about this idea for making special soap. Not just regular soap, this was going to be spiritual soap with crystals in it. He had this whole plan about targeting the wellness community. And you know what? I actually thought it was a good idea. I mean, Andy's creative, he's good at marketing, and people are really into that spiritual stuff right now. Plus, I wanted to be supportive. My mom always taught me that a good wife supports her husband's dreams. So I jumped in 100%. I spent a couple weeks helping him get started, used my sales experience to help set up his website, got him supplies, and hired a tech guy to set up inventory tracking and payment systems. Cost us about $3,000 to get everything going, but I figured it was worth it to see him excited about something. Jimmy was over all the time now, helping Andy with social media stuff. They'd do these photo shoots with the soap, arranging crystals and flowers around it. Using these special lights I bought, Andy started calling himself a craftpreneur, typing that made me cringe, but whatever. The first few months were actually pretty great. Andy was happy, the house was always clean, because he wanted good backgrounds for his soap photos, and he was still super involved with the kids. He'd even let them help with product development, basically letting them pick scents and colors for new soaps. It was cute. Our friends were supportive too. They all bought soap. Andy would go to local craft fairs and actually sell quite a bit. He was making these cute gift boxes with different soaps and crystals, and people loved them. The local yoga studio even started carrying his stuff. Actually, I was so proud of him. I kept telling everyone how amazing he was doing, how he built this business from scratch. Jimmy was going around telling everyone he was Andy's business mentor. He wasn't. He just showed him how to use Instagram filters. Even my dad bought like 20 soap sets to give to his friends at church. But hindsight's 20/20, right? This was just the calm before the storm. For about 6 months, the business was actually doing really well. Andy was making like $5,000 to $6,000 a month selling his spiritual soap stuff. Not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed. But that's when things started getting weird. It started small. Andy got invited to this Men in Business conference in Richmond. Cost like $800 for a weekend ticket. But he was excited, and the business could afford it. So why not? Jimmy obviously went with him because, God forbid, Andy do anything without his business mentor. They came back. Different. Like they joined some kind of weird business cult or something. Suddenly everything was about scaling and building your empire. Andy started buying all these online courses about maximizing your masculine business energy. Whatever TF that means. He had Jimmy over even more, and they'd spend hours planning his ascension to CEO status. Of a soap company that operated out of our garage. Then came the changes to our routine. Andy used to make dinner every night. He was actually a great cook, but now he was too busy manifesting abundance to do mundane tasks. Direct quote, I started having to pick up takeout on my way home from work, because apparently cooking would diminish his CEO energy. The kids started noticing too. Zach had this big basketball tournament, and Andy missed it because he was doing some online masterclass about Instagram Reels. Max's teacher called because he hadn't been doing his homework. Turns out Andy was too busy with his business strategy sessions to check it anymore. Our garage turned into this insane soap factory. Like we couldn't even park the cars in there anymore because it was full of these drying racks and boxes of supplies. The house always smelled like essential oils and sage. Because apparently you have to sage your soap inventory for good business energy or some crap. I tried talking to him about it. Like, hey, maybe we should find a balance here. He looked at me like I just told him the earth was flat. Michelle, you don't understand. This isn't just a business. It's a movement. We're helping men unlock their spiritual potential through mindful cleansing. I wish I was making this up. Jimmy wasn't helping at all. He'd be there practically every day, encouraging this nonsense. Because that's what the world needs. Another overpriced wellness brand. The spending got crazy too. Andy started buying all this expensive office furniture for his CEO space, aka the spare room. Like he spent $1,200 on this fancy chair because abundant CEOs need abundant seating. He hired a business coach to help him step into his power. Started going to all these networking events and seminars. Our joint account was getting drained for all this business stuff. When I brought it up, he got super defensive. I'm investing in our future. You should be grateful I'm bringing in money. Most women would love to have a husband who's building an empire. The worst part? Our friends and family were still encouraging him. My dad kept sharing his business posts on Facebook. My mom told me I should be proud of having such an entrepreneurial husband. Even my friends were like, girl, he's killing it. You should be happy. But they didn't see what was happening at home. The kids were eating cereal for dinner because dad was too busy doing Instagram lives about mindful soap creation. The house was a mess unless he was filming content. He started missing parent-teacher conferences because they conflicted with his mastermind sessions. One night I found Zach crying in his room. He'd gotten an A on his science project and wanted to show Andy, but Andy was too busy filming soap making tutorials to look at it. That hit me hard. Like what the hell happened to my husband who used to be so excited about every little thing the kids did? I tried everything to get him interested in literally anything else. Booked us this weekend getaway at that resort he always talked about. He canceled last minute because of some emergency business strategy session. Got him into this fancy cooking class he used to love before all this started. He left halfway through because he needed to align his business energy or whatever. Even tried getting him back into doing stuff with the kids like he used to. Remember those amazing scrapbooks he made for their birthdays? But nope. Apparently that was limiting his entrepreneurial potential. Who even talks like that? When I brought up how much the kids missed spending time with him, he just gave me this condescending look and said, women often try to dim a man's light when he starts to shine too bright. Like yeah, that's it. I'm intimidated by your magic soap business that's taking over our garage and ruining our family. Really starting to hate all this spiritual business talk. So at that point, he was making decent money but spending it all on these weird business courses and mindset coaching. That's when Brandy showed up. This woman, man, where do I even start? He met her at some entrepreneur conference in DC, came home talking about this amazing business coach who had revolutionized the spiritual product industry or whatever. According to her Instagram, which I later checked out, she was some kind of business guru who helped heart-centered entrepreneurs scale their divine businesses. I'm not even joking, that's exactly what her bio said. Brandy was like every stereotypical business coach you can imagine, always wearing these tight blue suits, had that perfect white smile, posted constant photos of herself working in exotic locations. Total douche vibes. But Andy? Oh man, he was completely starstruck. The first red flag was the price of her coaching program. She wanted $15,000 for 6 months of coaching. $15,000? To teach someone how to sell soap. I nearly fell off my chair when Andy told me, but he had already paid the deposit using business funds before even talking to me about it. It's an investment in our future, Michelle. Brandy has helped other spiritual entrepreneurs scale to 7 figures. That was his justification. He kept showing me these testimonials from her other clients, all saying how she helped them manifest abundance and crap like that. The coaching started with these weekly Zoom calls that had to be in the evening, because apparently soap business strategy can only be discussed after 8 p.m. Andy would get ready for these calls like he was going to a fancy dinner. Full makeup, nice outfits, the works. For a Zoom call about soap. Then came the intensive strategy sessions that had to be in person. These meetings were always at some fancy hotel lobby or upscale coffee shop. Never at like an actual office or something normal. And they always seemed to run late into the evening. Jimmy, who was still hanging around all the time, thought Brandy was the best thing since sliced bread. OMG, Andy, she's such a visionary and she totally gets the divine masculine energy of your brand. He'd help Andy get ready for these coaching sessions, like he was preparing him for prom or something. The kids started asking questions I couldn't really answer. Why does Dad dress up to talk about soap? How come he can go to business meetings but not my dance recital? Max's teacher emailed me again because Andy missed another parent-teacher conference. Apparently he had an emergency strategy session with Brandy. The breaking point for me was when Zach got sick at school. He had a fever and needed to be picked up. I was in the middle of a huge project at work and couldn't leave. Called Andy, straight to voicemail. Texted him, no response. Finally got hold of Jimmy, who told me Andy was in a session with Brandy and couldn't be disturbed. I had to make up some excuse at work and go get my kid because my husband was too busy manifesting with his business coach to take care of our sick son. When I finally got hold of Andy that night, he acted like I was being unreasonable for being upset. Michelle. Brandy says a true CEO has to make hard choices sometimes. You're just not thinking abundantly enough. Around this time, the business actually started making less money. Andy was so focused on scaling and building his empire that he was neglecting the actual soap making. Orders were going out late. Customers were complaining about quality, but he didn't care because he was too busy planning his ascension to 7 figures. I started documenting everything. The missed school events, the late-night coaching sessions, the money being spent on Brandy's program. Something felt really off about the whole situation. I also started paying more attention to Andy's schedule. Those coaching sessions were getting more frequent and always at weird times. He'd come home late smelling like expensive perfume, not the essential oils he usually reeked of. I'm not proud of this part, but I started checking our credit card statements more carefully, found charges from hotels near where these business meetings were happening. Not exactly the kind of places you discuss soap marketing, if you know what I mean. But I didn't have solid proof yet. Part of me didn't want to believe it. Like maybe there was some explanation that wouldn't destroy our family. Then one Tuesday afternoon, I got this text from Zach that changed everything. Mom, Dad's with that business coach at the mall. They're kissing. Max won't stop crying. Please come get us. That text from Zach shattered my whole world. My sons, 11 and 9 years old, had to watch their dad making out with another woman in the middle of a public Starbucks. They were supposed to be having a fun day at the mall with their friend's dad. Instead, they got to see their father destroy our family right in front of them. I rescheduled my afternoon hospital appointments and went to get them. The whole drive there, Max kept asking, why was Daddy kissing that woman? How do you even answer that? Zach was just quiet, which was almost worse. The drive home felt like it lasted forever. All I kept thinking about was how I'd practically gift-wrapped this nightmare. $3,000 to start his business, the fancy lighting setup for his soap photos, the inventory tracking system. I'd been so proud of supporting his dreams of being that understanding wife who helped her husband find his passion. What a joke. I'd basically paid for front row seats to watch my marriage implode. Every encouraging word, every time I told him, you can do this, honey, every dollar I'd invested, I might as well have been building the stage where he'd eventually perform his betrayal. The steering wheel creaked under my grip as I fought the urge to punch something. Some supportive wife I turned out to be. So busy patting myself on the back for helping him start a business that I didn't notice he was starting something else entirely with Brandy. Sent the boys to their rooms when we got home. They didn't need to see what was coming next. They'd seen enough of their mother's failures for one day. Then I waited. Paced around our kitchen like a caged animal. Staring at that damn text from Zach over and over. 11 words that just nuked our entire family. Looking like he just won the lottery. His cheeks were flushed, hair slightly messy. Now I knew why. Wearing this new outfit I'd never seen before, he's rambling on about his amazing breakthrough day and how Brandy helped him unlock his next level of abundance. Didn't even notice the kids weren't around. Not a single, where are the boys? Just kept going on about his fantastic day of business development. I didn't say a word. Just stood there, arms shaking with rage as I held up my phone with Zach's text. Watched his face do this whole performance. First this confused puppy look, head tilted like he's trying to decode hieroglyphics. Then this flash of panic when reality hit him. Oh Michelle, he laughed, actually laughed. The boys probably just misunderstood what they saw. You know how kids can be, Always making up stories. I kept staring, my jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth might shatter. Honey, you don't understand, he tried again, switching to his spiritual guru voice. Brandy and I were just doing an intensive energy alignment session. Energy alignment? I exploded, my voice bouncing off the kitchen walls. Is that what you call making out with your business coach at the Starbucks? In front of our sons. He had the audacity to roll his eyes at me. Actually rolled his eyes like I was some backwards cave woman who just didn't get it. God, Michelle, you're so traditional. This is a modern business relationship. Brandy and I have a deep spiritual connection. I'm actually setting a powerful example for our boys about male empowerment and following your truth. Something in me snapped. Slammed my hand on the counter so hard everything rattled. My phone bounced and skidded across the granite. Pretty sure I heard something crack. Either the phone screen or my last nerve. Started fixing his hair like we were discussing the weather. You're obviously the problem here, Michelle. You've always held me back from reaching my full potential. You just don't understand the depth of what Brandy and I are building. I've never wanted to flip a table more in my life. 12 years of marriage and my husband was standing in our kitchen, preening in the microwave reflection, justifying cheating on me as some kind of masculinist business strategy. All while our sons were upstairs. Their world shattered because Daddy was too busy manifesting his truth to remember he had a family. You're right, I said, my voice deadly calm. I don't understand. I don't understand how you could do this to our kids. I don't understand how you could throw away our family for some con artist in a blue suit, and I really don't understand how you can stand there fixing your hair when your sons are upstairs crying. He just kept primping, muttering about my negative energy and how I was blocking his abundance. That's when I knew. The man I married was gone, replaced by whatever this spiritual soap CEO monster was. I called Jimmy right after. Guess what? He knew. Had known for weeks. My own brother had been covering for Andy, telling me he was at business development workshops when he was really meeting Brandy at hotels. Jimmy's response? Andy's just living his truth and expanding his masculine energy? What the actual hell? After that fight with Andy, I drove around for hours. Couldn't go home. Couldn't face the kids. Couldn't process how my whole family was falling apart. When I finally got back, my parents' car was in the driveway. Great. Walking in, I found the typical drama setup. Andy at the kitchen table crying his fake tears, my dad hugging him like he's some wounded angel, Mom standing uselessly in the corner. Oh, Jimmy, pacing around like some cut-rate lawyer about to deliver his closing argument. How dare you? Jimmy launched at me the second I walked in. He actually pushed me, both hands, right in the chest. You egotistical, controlling piece of crap. Andy's building an empire and you're trying to tear him down because you can't handle a strong man. I caught his wrist before he could shove me again. Don't touch me, Jimmy. Not after what your friend did to my kids today. Let go of your brother, Dad yelled, still hugging Andy. Your precious Andy was making out with his business coach at the mall, in front of my sons, in front of your nephews, Jimmy. Want to defend that? Jimmy yanked his hands away. That's a business relationship. You wouldn't understand the deep connection entrepreneurs develop just because your marriage is so primitive and traditional. Primitive? I was done. So done. You want to talk primitive? Let's talk about how you've been covering for him, making excuses when he misses the kids' events, lying about where he is. Tell me, Jimmy. How many hotel rooms have you booked for their business meetings? Andy's head snapped up. Jimmy went white. Bingo. Yeah, I know about that, too. You think I don't see the receipts? The room charges? The business dinners? What kind of uncle helps destroy his nephew's family? You're twisting everything. Jimmy was screaming now. Just like Danielle did to me. Don't you dare compare me to your ex? Danielle cheated on you, or did you forget that part? Now you're helping Andy do the same thing to me? What happened to cheaters are scum, Jimmy? Or does that only apply when it's happening to you? Dad jumped in. Don't talk to your brother like that. No, let her talk. Jimmy stepped right up to my face. Let her show everyone exactly why Andy needed to find support elsewhere. You're pathetic, you know that? You're afraid of your husband's success? Can't support his dreams? Can't ignore him screwing his business coach? Can't pretend it's normal when my kids have to see their dad with another woman? Tell me, Jimmy, what exactly should I be handling better? That's when we heard the crying upstairs. Max. Jimmy tried to push past me to the stairs, probably to play the caring uncle. I grabbed his arm. Don't you dare go near my kids. You lost that right when you helped their father cheat on their mother. They need their father. Jimmy yanked away from me. Their father? Zach's voice from the top of the stairs stopped everyone cold. Our father doesn't care about us anymore. He cares about Brandy. And Uncle Jimmy helps him. We're not stupid. The look on Jimmy's face. Like someone had slapped him. Good. Hope it hurt. The rest of that night was a blur of more screaming, more accusations, more of Jimmy's masculinist buzzwords thrown around like confetti. But that moment, seeing Jimmy realize the kids knew about his part in all this? Almost worth it. A week passed. Andy was still at my parents', playing the victim. Then apparently he went to Jimmy's place because Jimmy was over every day trying to get the kids to visit their dad. They refused. That's when things got ugly. Instead of rushing to a lawyer, I played it smart. I moved money faster than Andy could say manifest abundance, got a new account set up and started treating our family finances like the business he always wanted to run. Funny how he wasn't so excited about abundant entrepreneur energy when it meant actually paying for stuff. The look on my parents' faces when they tried calling me cruel for cutting off their precious spiritual entrepreneur? Pure gold. Dad was all, "How could you do this to the father of your children?" Until I dropped all evidence folders on their kitchen table. Hotel receipts, coaching session payments, time-stamped photos, the whole 9 yards. My mom, who usually has the emotional range of a garden gnome, actually muttered, "Well damn," when she saw the credit card statements. Coming from her, that's basically like a 3-hour monologue. Meanwhile, Andy's soap empire was crumbling faster than his crystal-infused bars in hot water. Remember all those manifestation posts about scaling to 7 figures? Yeah, turns out manifesting doesn't pay the bills. Who knew? Orders were piling up unfulfilled, customers were demanding refunds, and his spiritual business community was starting to see through the rose quartz tinted glasses. Here's where I got creative. And by creative, I mean absolutely truthful. Started leaving honest reviews about his products online. No rage, no drama, just straight facts. Order number 127 never arrived. Multiple emails ignored, requested refund. Or product quality inconsistent. Crystals fell out of soap after 1 use. Not as advertised. Simple, right? Turns out I wasn't the only one holding back. Once one person spoke up, the floodgates opened. It was like watching dominoes fall if the dominoes were overpriced soap bars. Those fancy yoga studios that used to stock his products? Gone. The Instagram influencers he paid to promote his sacred cleansing journey or whatever ghosted faster than a Tinder date who finds out you're not actually a Bitcoin millionaire. His wholesale accounts dried up quicker than his soap in a steam room. Then Brandy, our favorite tight suit wearing guru, straight up vanished when the coaching fees stopped rolling in. Who would have thought a woman charging $15,000 to teach people how to sell soap wasn't actually interested in their spiritual journey? The moment Andy couldn't make the payments, she was gone. No more late-night strategy sessions, no more emergency business meetings, no more nothing. The best part in all that is I didn't have to do anything except sit back and watch. No screaming, no fighting, just the sweet sound of reality finally catching up with delusion. Jimmy tried to do damage control, bless his heart. He was posting these long-winded Instagram captions about weathering storms and rising from adversity faster than Andy could burn sage. But here's the thing about reality. It doesn't care about your hashtags. Andy couldn't even keep his phone on anymore. Remember how he used to be glued to it, always connecting with his audience and building his community? Now he couldn't even afford the bill. Jimmy wasn't doing much better. Turns out covering for your friend's affair and enabling his business fantasies doesn't actually pay the bills. Who knew? The landlord finally kicked them both out when the rent checks bounced harder than their abundance mindset off actual business reality. Want to know the definition of karma? Watching two boss dudes realize their manifestation journals won't actually manifest rent money. With nowhere else to go, I heard that Andy, our spiritual soap king, shows up at his parents' doorstep with all his CEO energy deflated like a week-old balloon. His parents, who had been his biggest cheerleaders in this whole mess, had finally seen enough receipts and evidence to realize their son wasn't exactly living his authentic truth, unless that truth involved hotel rooms with Brandy. They actually turned him away. And let me tell you, watching my former in-laws choose reality over their son's BS was like watching pigs fly while riding unicorns. But here's where it gets really good. Jimmy, the original masculine power guru who started this whole mess, well, he went crawling back to his ex. Yeah, that ex. The same woman he spent 3 years calling every name in the book on Instagram. The woman he claimed was dimming his light and suppressing his masculine energy. Suddenly, she was his stable foundation and proof that love conquers all. The mental gymnastics Jimmy pulled to justify this move would have won him Olympic gold. His Instagram went from women are trash to sometimes the universe brings people back together for a reason faster than you can say hypocrite. He even had the audacity to post a 12-part series about forgiveness and growth, while conveniently forgetting all those posts about how his ex was basically Satan in business casual. Meanwhile, Andy ended up in this tiny one-bedroom apartment that looked like a soap warehouse had a baby with a crystal shop. Boxes of unsold inventory everywhere. We're talking floor-to-ceiling stacks of spiritual soap that nobody wanted. Those same products he swore would make him millions were now basically really expensive air fresheners. The irony of him being surrounded by cleaning products while his life was this messy? Chef's kiss. After a month, I found out that these two brilliant minds decided their next move should be starting a spiritual coaching business. Because apparently, the best time to start coaching others is right after you've spectacularly failed at everything yourself. Shockingly, nobody was buying what they were selling anymore. Turns out when people watch you crash and burn your soap empire, they're not super keen on paying you for life advice. Their social media engagement dropped faster than their credibility, which was already somewhere in the Earth's core at this point. While all this was going down, I was focused on one thing: getting legally untangled from this mess and focusing on my kids. Got myself the kind of lawyer who eats entrepreneur's energy for breakfast. The evidence pile I handed her was thicker than Andy's manifestation journal. Every bank statement, every delusional business expense, all meticulously documented. You should have seen Andy trying to play the victim in court. He pulled out every stop. Tears on command. Stories about sacrificing his successful marketing career for our family. Conveniently forgetting he left that job to sell magical soap. Claims about how he deserved spousal support because he was finding himself. My lawyer shut that down faster than Brandy shut down his calls when the money ran out. Then came the custody battle. Or should I say, attempted custody battle. Andy tried pushing for joint custody, probably thinking he could secure some child support to fund his next spiritual venture. But here's the thing about kids. They see right through BS. Zach and Max, bless their hearts, stood up in court and basically said, thanks but no thanks to living with Dad full-time. Watching their faces as they told the truth about all the missed events, the neglect, the Brandy situation, that was harder than watching the soap empire crumble. The judge's verdict was sweeter than validation from your Reddit community. I got primary custody. Andy got supervised visitation. Turns out courts aren't super impressed by parents who choose business coaching sessions over sick kids. And the financial settlement? Let's just say Andy's abundance didn't translate to actual assets. The moment those papers were signed, I swear I lost 150 pounds of dead weight instantly. Funny how letting go of a soap entrepreneur can do that to you. It's been about a month since the divorce was finalized. I'd settled into a pretty good routine with the kids. Zach joined the school basketball team. Turns out when your dad actually shows up to games, you feel like playing more, and Max's grades were back up since someone was actually checking his homework again. The house smelled like normal house stuff instead of whatever the hell divine prosperity sage and lavender was supposed to be. Then one random Tuesday night, around 9 p.m., there's this knock at my door. Not like a normal knock, more like that sad, pathetic kind of knock that screams, I've hit rock bottom and kept digging. I open up, and there's Andy, looking like he just lost a fight with a Sephora store and a self-help bookshelf. His manpower suit was replaced with yoga pants that had definitely seen better days. And his abundant entrepreneur makeup was looking more raccoon after an all-nighter. The transformation from spiritual business god to reality hit me like a truck was almost artistic. Michelle. He sniffled, trying to make his voice do that thing that used to work on me. I don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. I burst out laughing. Like, congratulations on finally catching up to what literally everyone else knew months ago. But I just stood there, wondering if Mercury was in Gatorade, or whatever he used to blame things on. Oh? I couldn't resist. So running an empire isn't your life's purpose anymore? What happened to the strong, independent man vibe? He tried to force this sad little smile, like we were sharing some inside joke about the whole thing. But here's the thing. It's only funny when both people are laughing. And I definitely wasn't laughing. I messed up, he admitted, his voice cracking like his business model. I got caught up in it all and I held up my hand. The same hand that used to help him package soap, that used to wipe our kids' tears when they couldn't understand why Daddy missed another school event. Save it. You didn't just mess up. You burned everything down. And you didn't just hurt me. You hurt our kids. His face did this thing where it kind of crumbled, like one of his handmade soap bars left in the rain. I don't know what to do anymore. I got flashbacks of all those nights I sat up with Max while he cried because his dad was too busy aligning his business chakras to read him a bedtime story. All those times Zach's face fell when Andy's seat was empty at his games because he had another emergency strategy session with Brandy. You figure it out, I said, stepping back. That's what CEOs do, right? And I shut the door. Through the grapevine, aka my dad who still talks to everyone, I heard Jimmy's still with his ex. Probably writing LinkedIn posts about coming full circle and divine timing or whatever. My parents and I are kind of okay now. We do Sunday dinners, but there's this unspoken thing where we all pretend the last year didn't happen. Some trust just doesn't grow back, you know. Me? I'm doing pretty good. Started dating a bit. Nothing serious. Just coffee meets with normal men who don't think crystals can fix everything. Zach and Max are thriving. Turns out kids do better when their parent actually parents. Who knew? The garage is finally clear of all that soap inventory. Donated most of it to a homeless shelter. But I kept one bar. It sits on my desk at work, this weird purple thing with a crystal stuck in it. Whenever I have a rough day, I look at it and think, well, at least I'm not trying to build a spiritual soap empire. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well and keeping one ridiculous soap bar as a reminder that reality always wins in the end, even against the strongest abundant CEO energy. And that, Reddit, is how my marriage dissolved faster than a soap bar in hot water. At least we can say it was a clean break, right? Moral of the story, even a soap empire can't wash away what truly matters. Trust your instincts, prioritize your loved ones, and remember that genuine happiness comes from reality, not fantasy. That's all for today. Make sure to like, subscribe and comment your favorite part.